Alrighty then, hey guys, what's up? It's me, Priscilla, and I am going to talk about body proportions when it comes to mermaid, or just mermaid proportions. I know a lot of different people try different styles, or they try to draw mermaids and it's just like it never works out and it just looks completely terrible. But you know, everybody gets better. More practice, the better it goes. And I just want to give a couple of pointers. During my Instagram journey of mermaid posts, I'm going to be using my Arteza watercolor set. I wanted to do watercolor. I posted like a poll on what to do for mermaid, what medium to use. So everybody voted watercolor. So this is basically this style is what I'm going to do for all of mermaid. And I've got just regular Strathmore cold press paper and my Prismacolor black pencil. And yep, so let's go ahead and jump into it. When you are drawing a mermaid proportionally, I always feel like, you know, you can never go wrong with the line of action. So I'm gonna use my brown Col-Erase pencil because it's easy to erase. And it kind of blends in with my watercolors. I'm gonna go ahead and draw the head to my mermaid, kind of place her up there because I want to draw the full body of the mermaid. So I'm gonna do a line of action, so maybe if she's just like, you know, and the tail's down here, maybe curved up. So line of action always definitely helps when you're positioning your characters. Now, another thing I like to do is I like to do like, you know, you see those little dummy wooden creatures. They're not wooden creatures, they're like human wooden people. And, you know, you can use them as proportion wise. And I always make like the Dorito for the top of the body and then it goes down. The thing is, when you start to make the bottom half of the person, so the legs that you would draw for a person, you want to make sure that it's still like the length of legs. Like you still want to include this mermaid having a butt. I've seen so many times where somebody will draw their mermaid, let's say this is my mermaid, and they'll make the mermaid like that. And you don't want that. So I see a lot of mermaids that are built like a lot of the characters or mermaids that I see students draw are kind of like, they square off, but there's no like, there's no differentiation from where, differentiation, that's a word I made up. There's no difference between the top half or the bottom half of the mermaid. And that's the thing on any kind of character, shape or size. There's always a bottom half and there's a top half. So maybe, you know, bring out, make like a diamond, see how that kind of starts to look like a diamond? And then maybe put the tails at the end. That's the thing, you don't want to just square it off. Another thing that I see with incorrect mermaids is, okay, here's my mermaid, here's the body. Okay, this is what I see. Like they start to draw a tail and then they curve it up. That's another thing I can't stand. And then it's like that. It's like that's not mermaid. No, it's okay if you've drawn mermaids like that in the past. I know I have definitely drawn mermaids like that in the past. And there's also the, here's the head, here's the body, tail, like really short tail. You can never go wrong with like making a tail too long. So I can bring this tail all the way back here. Now the thing is we have the Dorito and then you want to keep this idea of a tear shape. So you have that tear shape. All right, so then I'm gonna draw my other proportions. And see, most mermaids like, okay, I'm just gonna have her like posing. It's on if your art is PG or PG-13, but I have a lot of young viewers and young followers on Instagram, so I always draw like seashell bras or like some kind of clothing for my mermaid, but usually it's like in a bikini fashion. So for example, I'll do like the basic bikini like seaweed wrap. That's one of the popular ones, so I'll just kind of like wrap like the seaweed look, make it look like she wrapped seaweed around her chest. That's one of the popular fashions of mermaiddom. maybe have a couple of the seaweeds hanging off the back. You know, make it look like ribbons. I know, you gotta be careful. Sometimes scrolling through the mermaid hashtag, I know a lot of artists draw like nude posing and stuff, and I'm just like, whoa, that's too much. Okay. Anyway, so here's like some seaweed hanging off in the back. Now the other thing with mermaids is how low their tails are or anything. Sometimes, you know, I just kind of like say like, okay, so this is possibly where her belly button is, all right? So there's the belly button, and then this is where the hips are. And usually where the hips start is where that's where I decide, okay, that's the top of the tail. There are different versions of how people start the tail. So some people like to draw like scales up on the body, and then they go right in front of that line that kind of cuts off where those hips start, and then they'll have like scales going up into her midriff. Or there's always the basic, you know, the Ariel, the Little Mermaid. You've got the fins coming around and wrapping around like this big fluffy belt almost. There's a lot of different versions of how people draw the actual start to the tail starting at the midriff. So I'm just gonna try to start with like the scale fashion. So I'm just gonna kind of bring it up. And sometimes I've even seen like one of my favorite artists, her name's like Gretel's, I don't even know how to pronounce her last name, but she is like, I think she's like a European artist, and she has the scales go all the way across her chest, and it's really a different, interesting kind of take on mermaids, which I have seen before in some depictions of mermaids, like in Peter Pan. I think that's how they were in the live action with Jeremy Sumter. So anyways, when you get to the bottom of the tail, you have to stick to that teardrop shape. So you get really close to the end of that teardrop. Now, a lot of tails are done in different ways. You could do the Little Mermaid tail, where you know, you bring out this side. So I'm just bringing out the middle of that fin. And you go on one side over here, and then you can make like another side over here. And then you bring out, like, you go and you make sections of that tail. All right, now you've got the other side where I'm just gonna bring this one up and go right alongside of it. So this one's kind of hiding behind this one. So you curve this tail up and it's hiding behind that one. So it's kind of like, you know, occurrence, like she's kind of stabilizing herself, kind of like, oh, what's up? Like maybe there's something over here that surprised her. All right, now that's a huge thing. Another thing is when you're drawing mermaids under the sea, I'm gonna use one of my decoy mermaids over here. You never want to draw a mermaid with their hair just kind of hanging off on back. All right, they're under the sea. If you've ever seen yourself when you jump into a pool or an ocean, or if you see your friend, their hair is everywhere. There's no gravity, so the hair should be going crazy. So it's always smart to kind of lift the hair, unless it's like a different kind of hairstyle, all right, or a different kind of type of hair. But most mermaids have like super long hair, and it's just kind of like floating in the sea. And you never want to, like, you can never go wrong with throwing different strands in different directions. Like, okay, here's some right here, and here's some over here. The hair is just going crazy. And that's one thing you want to do, unless like they're sitting on a cliff. Then of course, you know, yeah, their hair is hanging down. Mermaids is you never want to get caught up on a certain color scheme, all right? There are tons of different versions of mermaid with all kinds of color schemes. So she can have pink skin, she can have green skin, she can look like a lake monster, and there's just so many different versions. She can look like a really scary, like Darth Vader vampire mermaid. It's up to you. You don't have to stick with actual ethnicity color schemes when it comes to mermaids. So that is something I love. I did all last year with Mermaid, was I did different colored mermaids. Like I did a pink one, I did an orange one, I did a purple one. And it's totally up to you on how you perceive it. So in Hook, you see the different colored hair mermaids. Don't be afraid to just really switch up your entire color spectrum when it comes to mermaids.